Good afternoon, everybody. So, it's November 21st. Nearly quarter to 2 in the afternoon on an extremely grey day. It's also quite chilly, about 3-4 degrees. Why then am I out on my bike? Well, I'm heading to Shrewsbury to try out the brand new Africa Twin. My local Honda dealership apparently received it on Tuesday, built it yesterday, Wednesday, when incidentally I was at the NEC bike show, and I'm test riding it today, which I'm quite excited about. Sat on one at the show yesterday, looked very nice. So it just remains to be seen what it rides like. Would I be interested in one? Quite possibly. Would it be a better bike than the Tiger? Who knows? It's got to go a long way to beat the Tiger, to tell you the absolute truth. Anyway, that's kind of it for now. Let's resume when I'm on the Honda. Well, here we are arriving at Honda. Bit of a queue up ahead. Probably was a train. Let's see what they've got for us. Let's hope it's not a DCT, because I've never ridden one of them. Oh, I'm guessing it's that Africa Twin Sport sitting out the front there. My, there we go. Right, so here we are out on the brand new, and I mean brand new, Africa Twin for 2019. I'm about 2 miles into my test ride. On this grey, damp November afternoon. This is the Africa Twin Sport. First impressions, yeah. Delivery of the power is very different to my Triumph Tiger, but you'd expect that. So, pick up in 5th at the 40, and pretty sharp. Riding position's great, arms are nice and relaxed. I'm a little shorty, I'm 5'6.5" if I'm lucky, and the reach out to the bars is leaves me with a comfortable bend in the arms. I haven't done any fine tuning like setting up the screen or anything like that. At the moment, for me, the screen is probably just a little bit intrusive, but I could certainly get used to that. View out of the mirrors is great. pickup is brilliant. Fucking hell. Really? Truck straight line in the road without bother looking in his mirrors. Brilliant. Love that, don't you? Well, that was a moment and a half, but we move on. So we get beside a truck, and then he decides to straight line because he doesn't bother checking in his mirrors. Well, there's certainly all the power you'd ever need there, from, I think it's 105 brake horsepower. Indicator button at the bottom of the instrument cluster is kind of a little bit difficult to get to. I suppose you get used to it, but it's sitting maybe a little bit, just a little bit in a different place to what I'm used to. So you can, when you want to cancel the indicator, you hit the horn button that's right down in that same bottom corner. So I'm only on 4,000 RPM. She's a brand new bike. I don't want to rev the guts out of the engine, but even so, pickup is absolutely 100%. I had the seat lowered just for this test ride, just because just gives you that little bit of extra confidence on a bike you're not used to if you have to put your foot down. But on the high seat setting, I was still kind of on just on tiptoe and just sliding to one side. Would have certainly seen me on the balls of one foot, which, like I said, for a short guy like me is sort of normal. So fourth gear, nice safe little overtake. Lots of buttons on these on the handlebars for answering phone, for scrolling through the menus, for all the I think it's 5 or 6 rider modes, and of those I think 2 are completely configurable as custom rider modes. Sitting up here is a you know, lovely commanding position, like all adventure bikes. Got the screen in the low position at the moment. It's no better than on my Tiger. I'm sure I could fiddle around with it to improve the wind protection. My knees seem nicely cosseted by the tank. Gearbox is lovely. Just snicking down, or up and down through the gears. A little bit of vibration, you know, that you'd expect through the foot pegs and the bars. Nothing like the vibration I get on my XT, of course. but a little bit more than I tend to get through the triple on the Triumph. So, see how pootling along, 30 mile an hour, 4th gear, no problem, smooth as anything, lots of torque. A little bit of a hill here, so roll on the power. Nothing to worry about. So we've got power settings, engine brake settings and traction control settings. Got them set on tour at the moment, so there's some of everything, but I understand full power. Need to spend an evening with the user manual before you fully understand all that, I think. A lot of rain lately, so there's water draining out of the fields, as you can see here, plus mud on the road. So you do have to be a little bit more circumspect about how you ride. But I can see no reason at all why you couldn't sit on this all day. And just eat up trails or tarmac, or a combination of both. Comfortable, commanding, good looking, sounds pretty good. 5th gear, 30 mile an hour, just chugging along. It's about 1800 revs. Down to 4th, about 2,500 revs, mud on the road here. I think you'd probably just sit on this and stick it in tour mode 90% of the time, unless you were on gravel, and then you stick it in the gravel mode. Would you ever stick it on urban mode? Don't think you would, really. Yeah, it reaches license-threatening speeds very easily. Unfortunately, you need 2 hands to change the screen. Bit of a disappointment, that. So that's a little bit of rural, twisty B roads. This is a little bit of urban coming up, as they put it, but we'll leave it in tour. There's lots of room on this 2-piece seat to move backwards and forwards. should you need to. I'm fairly close to the tank, but I've probably got 4 inches of movement before I feel the back seat touching my bum. So the air temperature tells me it's 9 degrees. A little while ago it was 4, so I'm not entirely sure whether I trust that. See if we can time it through here without stopping. So there's the cruise control set. What can I say? It's cruise control. And going up and down the speed as simple as touching the switch up or down. So I think you press cruise control to activate it, press the button beside it to set it, and then you can go up and down, accelerate and decelerate as you choose, which is good. So I've got the screen up high now, so I'm looking through it. And there's certainly a noticeably less amount of buffeting on the helmet. Virtually no vibration in the mirrors, is that great? Yeah, so I put the windscreen down a little bit and there's a noticeable difference. Very relaxed place to be actually, not having to hold the throttle open. I wouldn't say the heated grips were the hottest I've ever known. They're on full. I mean, I can feel them, but just just very nicely finished, very neat looking. No loose wires hanging around. I guess that's what you'd expect from Honda. And there's plenty pickup there when you need it. Yeah, this would certainly be a pleasurable place to sit and go places. Of that I have no doubt. So, yep, just one button to switch off the cruise, or I'm guessing you could just as easily do it by touching the brakes, because that's how they all work. So here I am, foot on one peg, or let's say foot on the brake, and I can get my left foot down flat. If I sit in the middle of the seat, I'm kind of on tiptoe, but that's normal for me. Well, that was the Honda Africa Twin test ride. Hopefully I'm one of the first. What can I say? It was a really pleasant bike to ride. Tons of torque, great riding position, loads of functions. Do you need them all? At the end of the day, probably not. Probably gonna set it in your favourite setting, have another setting for when you potentially go off-road, and that's it. It's a lot of money, but it's quite a lot of bike. Would I have one? Quite possibly. Would it be any more fun than what I ride at the moment? I don't think it would be.